Now, how will this week's budget affect you? We've got some examples from Gravesend to get us all thinking. Now, we asked some people in the North Kent town what they wanted to hear from Jeremy Hunt this week, and we're going to try and get them some answers. So let's start with Stephanie, who we met at a baby sensory class in Gravesend. Her son Michael is 12 weeks old, and she's got a 3-year-old at home too. She wants to know what the Chancellor can do about rising prices and energy costs.
Prices are going up and up. I mean, it was, 11%, I think it was announced today, 11.1%, but we're surviving on £157 a week. We do online food shopping and pretty much buy the same things each week, and our food shop's gone, compared to a few months ago, it's gone up like 20, 25 quid.
Now, that was Stephanie in Gravesend. Charlotte Wright's our political editor, and she's with us now. Do you think that the Chancellor said very much that offers hope to Stephanie when it comes to the cost of living?
I don't think there was an awful lot in there for people like Stephanie. The situation is pretty grim at the moment. We do know that the cap on energy bills will be extended for a year from April, so there'll be some support still for people paying their energy bills, but it's going to be less generous. It's going to be £3,000 a year rather than £2,500. That will be the caps. We'll be paying more in our energy bills from April. We can also expect to pay more in tax as well, because they're freezing the tax thresholds. So as people earn a bit more money and maybe move up tax brackets, they'll end up paying more tax. The Chancellor did say that the government is helping the most vulnerable, though. So they are uprating benefits and pensions in line with inflation. They're putting up the minimum wage as well. But for people like Stephanie, I think it is going to be pretty tricky ahead.
OK, let's turn our attentions now to Annie. She wants to know how the budget will affect her mortgage. Her fixed rate comes to an end in April. She's currently facing a £300 hike, from £800 to £1,100 for her 3-bedroom terrace in Gravesend.
I think it's very, very difficult for people like me and my partner who work hard. You know, we have 9-to-5 jobs, and there's no help for people like us. If I wasn't with my partner and we split everything 50-50, if I was on my own, then I would lose the house. I wouldn't be able to pay my monthly mortgage payments. I think it's quite clear that we can afford at the moment our house, but when it goes up £300, £400, £500 a month, people are going to be losing their houses. So what can he do to stop that?
Lots of people will be in Anna's situation, won't they, in the coming months? Of course, it's the Bank of England and the individual lenders that set rates, not the Chancellor. But is there anything Jeremy Hunt said or did that offers any hope to Annie?
Well, I suppose Jeremy Hunt would say that, you know, part of the point of all of these measures that he's announced is to drive down inflation. And we know that the Bank of England put up interest rates to try and combat inflation. So he might say, well, look, in the long term, hopefully that should help. But we saw those mortgage rates go shooting up, didn't we, after the mini budget announced by Kwasi Kwarteng back in September. And so, you know, we're still seeing the effects of that. I think we are slightly past the peak when it comes to fixed rate deals. But you know, experts say that the kind of days of ultra-low mortgage rates that we've seen over the past 10 or so years, really they're behind us now. OK, on to Kay Sharp. Kay runs the Sharp and Owen hairdressers in Gravesend. She wants to know what the Chancellor's going to do to support small businesses like hers.
So obviously small businesses are really good for the community. You're helping, you know, normal families, normal people. Yeah, and we're not a massive organisation that's trying to make huge profits. We're just trying to live normal lives. And bring something to, especially Gravesend. It's a very quiet kind of high street in terms of there's not many businesses here. We don't want to be another one that unfortunately has to shut.
OK, let's talk about businesses. According to the budget this week, we're in recession, predicted to continue next year as well. It's going to be a tough time for small businesses, isn't it? Yeah, it really is, I think. The Chancellor did announce some help around business rates. So there is a package of around £13.6 billion. That includes a mixture of freezes and reliefs. But then businesses are facing the freeze in the tax threshold, so VAT, national insurance, they're facing increased energy bills. And then, of course, we talked about the minimum wage going up. Businesses are going to have to shoulder that. They're the ones who pay that, aren't they? Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think, you know, it's a tricky time ahead for millions of people, for businesses across the southeast. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Let's put this to our politicians. Vince, I'll come to you first on this one. Let's ask you what you made most generally about what the Chancellor said, and in particular in reference to Stephanie, Annie and Kay in Gravesend and the questions they asked.